61 and 62, 63 we'll try to do today. 62 to 63 is talking about process of fall down. If mind is not on Krishna, if mind is not fixed upon Krishna, then it fixes on the sense objects and inevitably drags one to on illusion, into illusion. Okay. So how it happened, how the process of fall down, how gradually person falls down. That's the process. So first of all, contemplating the object of the senses was the thing. Okay, and this I'm just telling you in the summarized way, and when we read the verse, you'll understand in detail. Okay, so I shared you this screen, you can see that. So here first thing is process, this in the process of fall down, contemplating the objects of the senses. First, dhyayato vishayan pumsa, contemplating on that, how it is, if I do this, sense object. Okay, if I get this thing, this will happen, that will happen. This contemplation is the dangerous thing, because here only things start. Okay, so it's like a person may think about some sense object, like a person may think, okay, I'll get this kind of food and I'll eat like this, I'll get this kind of dress and I'll wear like this, I'll go like this, people will praise me like this. Thinking, contemplating on those sense object, like, okay, if I get this thing, this will happen, this will, if I get this kind of phone, if I do this sense object, contemplating on the sense object leads to attachment. Then second stage is attachment. One is too much attached to that sense object. Too much attached. Always then cannot live without it. Always want to be with that object, whether it is any sorts of sense object. Always want to be with it. And in that way, it develops into lust. Then it is, I want it. Okay, now lust means I want it for my sense gratification, I want it. He does it to acquire it, he does all the effort, endeavor. Then this lust, because he wants it more and more and more, so if he gets it, this lust means lust, basic meaning of lust means I want it for my sense gratification, that's it. Okay, that is the basic difference between love and lust. Love means everything I am doing for Krishna's satisfaction, and lust means I am doing it for my satisfaction. So that's why people will do this thing, and they don't understand that it is lust, but actually it is lust. Because most of the time we plan things for our sense gratification, for our enjoyment. That's why people get, I want this, and if you don't give to them, they get angry. Why? Because their lust is not fulfilled. That's what mentioned here. If lust unfulfilled, anger arises. So many times people ask, I am having this problem with anger. I get angry very early. I cannot control my anger. This kind of problem is there with the people. I cannot control my anger. Sometimes I just burst out. I shout upon people. They cannot control their anger. Why? Here. The anger, the cause of anger is my lust is not fulfilled. So anytime if I get anger, I must conclude. There is no other reason. Somebody says, because of him I am getting angry, because he is doing like this, so I am angry. No. Here Bhagavad Gita is saying that I am getting angry only because my lust is not fulfilled. And lust is directly opposite to Krishna. It is lust means we are getting away from Krishna. More lust, more distance from Krishna. So if I don't know whether I am having lust or not, I should see. When how I'll understand? When my lust is not fulfilled, I'll get anger. That is lust. Anything which you want and you are not getting it, and because you are not getting it, so you are getting angry. Or anything you want to, that it should happen like this, and if it is not happening, you are getting angry. That means it was a lust. You say, look, this thing you keep here. As per me, this TV should be on this wall. But other person in the family says, no, on this wall. And then you are getting angry. No, I said na in this wall. That means this is lust. Lust is very dangerous. Okay, so question is desire also lust? So that's what I am telling. Desire means lust only. If it desire means lust, in what case? When this desire is for my sense gratification. If this desire is for Krishna's enjoyment, then it is love. That is the only difference. So that's why when we get angry, that is because if it is for others' enjoyment, then you will not get angry. That is why, like somebody is going and he is doing something nonsense, and if he stops it and if he continues it, in both the cases you have no benefit, then you will not get angry, right? You get angry only when there is something is for you and that you are not getting, then only get angry. Or somebody is not, you are saying something but he is not listening your words, he is not following what you are asking him to do, he is not doing, you get angry. Why? Because your lust is not fulfilled. On top of that you will put so many other things, but mainly the anger comes because lust is unfulfilled. That's what Krishna is saying. Okay, but this anger, there is another anger which is different. That is like sometimes spiritual master is getting angry with the disciple, sometimes parents getting angry with the children. That anger is different. Or sometimes like king is angry on a citizen because he is doing something nonsense. So that anger is different, because that is out of duty they are doing, right? They are becoming anger out of duty. Their duty is to control the children. For this guru, the duty is to control the disciple. For king, the duty is to control the citizens. For husband, duty is to control the wife. So in this way they have to get angry. But that anger also, now if suppose somebody is a guru or somebody is a husband, father, mother, they have to check that when they are getting angry, it is because of their lust or because their love. So the anger which they are doing, it should be because they want the benefit, they want some welfare of the kids or of the disciple. So they are getting angry. So that kind of anger is different, right? Then when one gets angry, completely lose control, complete delusion, and when that happens, then memory loss, intelligence loss, and then person falls into material pool. That's the process in 62 and 63. Completely person is fall down. So it starts with contemplating on the sense object. That's very important. So one should stop this contemplation. And in order to see all these advertising companies, they do not want us to stop contemplating on the sense object. That's why they create very wonderful ads, advertise, so that you keep on thinking about that product and then you buy. Because if you keep on thinking about it, you will buy it for sure. That's the process. That's why Krishna is saying, don't even think about it. Okay, people will say, at least I'm not buying, but I'm just thinking, I'm just talking about it. At least I can talk, na? No, if you talk, you will do it. First it will come in mind, then it will come in speech, then it will come in action. Manasa, vacha, karmana. That's the process. So thought itself should be curbed. There itself it should be finished. Okay, that's why again and again advertise is coming. If you watch a movie or a serial, same advertise will come 100 times, right? Why they are showing same? Once they showed, na, you heard, right? But why again and again? Because again and again, they knows the Bhagavad Gita, how it works. We don't know. They knows, they are reading. Otherwise, why the Bhagavad Gita is being taught in IIM? They are learning from this only, that how you have to cheat the people. They know how mind will work, how person's contemplation will, again and again you keep telling him. Then he will contemplate on it and one day he will buy it. That's how it happens. Nobody gets up in the morning and go and buy this car. No, he will think. He will see here, there advertise, and he will think at least 2-3 months. Then he will talk with, actually I am thinking to change my model. This model of car I am going to purchase. Then he will talk with 2-3 people, then family, then here, there. Everybody will encourage him, yes, do it. Then his thought will become action, word, and they are very powerful word, and then he will do it. Then he cannot control it, right? So this that's why watching this advertise and this all those ads is very dangerous. They will keep you they will push you, force you to contemplate on the sense object, and contemplating on sense object is the cause of the main first step of fall down. Okay, and more you go on the second step, third step, fourth step, more it is difficult to come back. So easiest process is to don't even climb first step. What is that? Contemplating on the sense object. Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsa. Let us read the verse. Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsa Sangasteshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kamat Krodho Vijayate. While contemplating the objects of the senses, one second. Okay. Okay. So, while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. Okay, one who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagements, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. We have to be careful. Always our senses should be engaged in the service of Krishna, otherwise automatically they will engage in the service of Maya. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects, and the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious. Everyone is under the influence of sense gratification, little or more. So the solution only is that you engage your senses in the service of Krishna. That is it. No other solution. Because these senses need some enjoyment. So if you try to only control them, one day it will blast. So you don't only control them, but you actually, what you do is what is the process? Processing that you engage senses in the service of Krishna. Why? So that you will get some higher taste. So you will not hanker for the lower taste of material sense gratification. You will get the ananda from serving Krishna. So senses will be satisfied. On top of that, because you are serving Krishna, Krishna will bless you so that you will be protected from the Maya. Yes. So Lord Shiva was Brahma. Prabhupada is saying even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma sometimes get disturbed. So Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal, and as a result Kartikeya was born. When Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi, but Haridas easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. As illustrated in the above mentioned verse of Sri Yamunacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. Okay, so the process is understood, and now the solution is being told by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. That solution is that don't contemplate on the sense object, but contemplate on the service of Krishna. Engage yourself in the service of Krishna. That is the secret of success. Okay. One who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail. For the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. So, even though one person may be very strong yogi or something, but he will get disturbed because of senses. He will get agitated if he is not Krishna conscious. Okay. Krodad bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama, smriti bhranshad buddhinasho, buddhinashad pranashyati. Further process. So if lust, when you contemplate on the sense object, it will lead you to attachment, attachment will lead you for lust, lust will lead you for, if lust is not fulfilled, then anger will arise. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Srila Rupa Goswami has given us this direction. Prapanchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastunaha mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam phalgu kathyate. By development of Krishna consciousness, one can know that everything has its use in the service of the Lord. So, this verse is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.258. So there two things are explained, Phalgu Vairagya and Yukta Vairagya. So by development of Krishna consciousness, one can know that everything has its use in the service of the Lord. Everything can be used. Those who are without knowledge of Krishna consciousness artificially try to avoid material objects, and as a result, although they desire liberation from material bondage, they do not attain to the perfect stage of renunciation. Their so-called renunciation is called Phalgu, or less important. On the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness knows how to use everything in the service of the Lord. Okay. So it's not like you just leave everything. No. You take things which are usable, which you can use in the service of Krishna. That's it. Don't take things which you cannot use in the service of Krishna. And a higher level of devotee, he knows how to use everything in the service of Krishna, because everything is for the pleasure of Krishna. Nothing is for our pleasure. Everything in the world is for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay. So, for example, so on the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness knows how to use everything in the service of the Lord, therefore he does not become victim. He does not become a victim of material consciousness. For example, for an impersonalist, the Lord or the Absolute being impersonal. Therefore, for example, for an impersonalist, the Lord or the Absolute being impersonal cannot eat, whereas the impersonalists try to avoid good eatables. A devotee knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and that he eats all that is offered to him in devotion. Okay, so materialist people, Mayavadi people, they say Krishna cannot eat because he has no fruit, no form, but they will eat. Okay, but devotee knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and he eats all that is offered to him in devotion. Okay, patram puspam phalam tam yo me bhaktya prachati. Yo me bhaktya prachati. Whatever is offered by his devotee in devotion, Krishna accepts that. So after offering good eatables to the Lord, the devotee takes the remnants called prasadam. Thus everything becomes spiritualized and there is no danger of a downfall. The devotee takes prasadam in Krishna consciousness, whereas the non-devotee rejects it as material. The impersonalist therefore cannot enjoy life due to his artificial renunciation. And for this reason, a slight agitation of the mind pulls him down again into the pool of material existence. It is said that such a soul, even though rising up to the point of liberation, falls down again due to his not having support in devotional service. So we have to have a very strong support in the devotional service, otherwise one can fall down. What is a strong support? A strong support is a strong association, a strong friendship of devotees. We should always have very good friend, devotee friend. That is very strong support. And then we should have very good relationship with the senior devotees. And we should have a very good scriptural knowledge. We should have very good attentive chanting. That support. So, if very good attentive quality chanting is there, that 99% success is sure. That is Krishna, that is Srila Prabhupada said. 1% is other causes. So we should serve the senior devotees and Guru. We'll get so much blessings that will have a very great support of devotional service. So in this way, the best thing is to serve other senior devotees and get their blessings, so that those blessings will provide us a strong support in devotional service. Hare Krishna. So that's the process of fall down. Now, in the 64th verse, tomorrow we will discuss 64th, but in the 64th it is explained that while engages senses, this person does with regulation and religious principles. The self-realized person is free from all attachment and aversion. He controls his senses through regulated principles of freedom. Thus he obtains the complete mercy of the Lord. So this 2.64 we shall discuss tomorrow. Okay, so from 64 to 71, the fourth question of Arjuna will be answered by Krishna. What was the question? Question was, how does he walk? Okay, so that means how does he engages his senses? That was the main question. So Krishna will answer that while engaging senses, he does with regulation and religious principles. Okay, so this 64 we shall do tomorrow. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Anand Koti Vaishnava ki jai. So if you have any question, you can ask. Hare Krishna.